Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time seeing my video, you're highly welcome. So guys, this my client said she wanted a very soft pinky eyeshadow look. I was like, okay, don't worry, I'll run it. So if you're interested in seeing how I created this beautiful look, just keep on watching, and please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share. Alright, to begin, you already know how we run it, right? Oh yeah, now let's go. So I'll start by cleaning her face with my Huda Beauty micellar water. So I'm cleaning to ensure every hidden dirt is removed underneath the skin. This will be followed by moisturizing the skin using my Moist Essence moisturizer from Blossom Makeup to make sure the skin is well hydrated. I'm going to be using my fan to dry it up, after which I'm going to prime her face using my Mismetic Aqua Grip Primer, which I'm going to apply all over her face except her under eye. So after applying this particular Mismetic Primer, Aqua Grip Primer, just let it sit for a while for it to get a little bit sticky before going in with your fan to dry it up. After drying it up, before you can add the next product to your face. So after drying it up, I use my Kiss Beauty setting spray to melt down everything. For foundation, I mix 2 shades of foundation from V Beauty and Adventure to get her skin tone. So I mix for V Beauty, I use the shade V Cloud, and for Adventure, I use the shade Sultan. So after mixing the 2 shades, I just apply it on her skin, and then I start to blend using my very soft and damp beauty sponge from CPD. So I start blending from one section of the face. After blending uniformly, I just move to the other section, blending to all the rest of the section of her face, making sure that everything is in place, everything is smooth, there is no harsh line, there is no demarcation, there is no patches anywhere. Contour her face, I'm going to be using the V Beauty foundation in the shade 08. So I applied underneath the cheekbone. So as you can see, immediately I apply, I just blend because the foundation dries up pretty fast. So I apply underneath the cheekbone, around the temple. So when blending, I'm blending moving towards the direction of the temple. So that's that. I just blend everything uniformly and I place my beauty sponge in such a way that when I'm blending, it's getting rid of the line separating the rest of her face from the contour. For blush, I'm going to be using this orange shade from this Girl 3D blush palette. So I apply it on her cheek, that's both sides of the cheek, and then I start blending, moving from the apple of her cheek towards the temple using the same soft and damp beauty sponge. So when blending, I'm making sure that I take care of the line separating the blush and the contour, because you wouldn't want any harsh line like making it look so obvious like there's a transition. So I light her face. I'm going to be using 2 shades of concealer, a lighter concealer, that's the Adventure concealer, and a darker shade, which is the exclusive concealer. So I'm just going to apply the lighter shade, which is Adventure, around the inner corner or the highlighted area, and then the darker shade. When I say darker, doesn't mean that it's darker than the foundation, like it's still 1 shade lighter than the foundation, and the lightest shade is 2 shades lighter than the foundation. After applying it, I'm going to start blending from the outer corner of the eye, moving towards the inner corner. So when I'm blending, I'm placing my beauty sponge in such a way that the line separating the blush and the highlighter is taken care of. So when blending, you will not see you will not see any line separating the highlighter and the blush. It will be a smooth transition. There will be no point separating the two. Okay, it's not like you're mixing everything, but so after that, I just melt down everything using my Kiss Beauty setting spray, followed by setting with my setting powder. So I'm using the Miracle setting powder in the shade Ginger and the powder puff. So when setting the face, you just set the highlighted area. So I'll be using my setting powder, 1 layer of the setting powder. So I'm just pressing in around the under eye, that's the T-zones, the under eye, the bridge of her nose, the chin, and the forehead. Guys, this girl likes cheese thing. She likes cheese. I had to cut off some parts. So when I was done setting her face, I went into contouring the sides of her nose. So to do that, I just used a shade from my powder palette, V Beauty powder palette, which is 2 shades darker than her skin tone, to contour the side of her nose. So I use my small angle brush fluffy angle brush to contour the nose. After which I went into filling the blank spaces, the rest of her face, with my powder from my V Beauty powder palette, which is equivalent to her skin tone. And I use my big fluffy brush to just blend in everything. And when blending, make sure you blend and go under the neck. You don't want the other area to be looking like right, so blend and go under the neck. I always apply my powder all over our face, including the neck. And after that, I use my Kiss Beauty spray to melt down everything. So I actually forgot. Usually I always contour before melting down, but like before setting the face, so I forgot. I started setting the face first using my mirror setting powder before I remember that, hey, because of my jeans I had to contour, so I had to like leave everything and contour the face again. So I still use the same shade I use in contouring the nose from my V Beauty powder palette, the shade which is 2 shades darker than her skin. So I just contour underneath the cheekbone, around the temple. Remember, when it comes to makeup, everything you use dry, you have to use use wet, you have to use dry. So after that, I did my reverse contour. I used my powder for my V Beauty powder palette, which is 1 shade lighter than her skin. Moving on, I'm going to be taming her brows using my brows tamer from Nikki's Signature and my brush to lay down. You want to ensure that all that stubborn hair is in place, right? Yeah, so I'm going to be doing that. After which I'll use my setting powder to make sure every moisture, every oil is absorbing. So for the brows, I'm going to be using my KR brows gel and my angle brush to outline. So I'll start outlining from the bottom before going to the top. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright. And for the first time in a long time I'm alright. See the light has changed. So when producing the outline, make sure you produce a tiny outline. Like try to picture the shape of the brows you want to produce, so that you will not have to over conceal the brows. So after producing my outline, I just use the excess gel on my angle brush to just like produce hair-like strokes around the outer corner, the outer end, like towards the end of the brows, right? So I produce my tiny hair-like stroke just to make sure everything is natural. So to fill in the brows, I'm going to be using my well sharpened and pointed David's pencil. When I say well sharpened, it should be pointed, like well sharpened. Produce tiny hair-like stroke. You just want to like make sure when you touch one spot, you don't go back to it again. You don't go back to print it. Produce tiny hair-like stroke to make it look very natural. So I'll do that for both sides of the brows.
Nobody knows, but I'ma choose what's right and take what comes and goes. And ain't no one in life holding me back no more. I've seen a lot of change.
Back to a lot of change. Things are not the same as they were a year ago. So to conceal the brows, I always like using 2 shades, like a darker shade of concealer. So I like using a foundation, a darker shade, because it's easy to blend. So I use a darker shade for the beginning and a lighter shade for the end. And then I still use again the darker shade like at the extreme end, because I don't want any harsh line of concealer around that area. So with the aid of my flat, well precise angle brush, I just use the tips of my angle brush to conceal. So I used the first concealer, it was looking a little bit dark, so I went in with another lighter concealer, Adventure concealer. So the first concealer I used, which was a little bit dark, was the Spotless concealer. So after doing that, I used my fluffy brush again to blend in everything. You don't want to leave that area messy, you have to blend and blend. So I did so for both sides of the eyebrows. After doing so, I still went further to conceal the upper section of the brows using my same angle brush and my foundation, the one I used for the beginning. Like if you produce a clean outline, right, you don't have to like conceal the upper section. So you're just concealing to make it more precise, to clean the edges, making sure it's straight and clean. So after that, I use my small angle fluffy brush again to blend in, because you don't have to leave that area messy, right? You have to blend in the foundation. So I did that for both sides of the brows. After which, I now went in with my powder from my powder palette to just apply. Remember, with makeup, everything you use wet, you have to use dry. So I went in with my powder from my Beauty powder palette, the same shade I used for the beginning. I still use the same shade of powder downward, like that's a shade which is one shade darker than her skin. And I use the same thing for the ends in a lighter shade, and the same thing for the upper section again. So for the eyeshadow, I started by placing my eyeshadow base. So I didn't actually use that. I used my concealer, that lighter shade of Adventure concealer. I just apply it on the eyelid. I used my concealer as my eyeshadow base. So I applied on both sides. After which, I used my fluffy brush again to blend in everything. You have to blend that area, blend the concealer very well, because if you don't blend it well, you put the eyeshadow, it will kind of look like it will start creasing. So after blending, I use my brown shade of eyeshadow from my Blossom eyeshadow palette with the area of my fluffy brush. I started blending from the outer corner. So for this look, I'm going to use just this one eyeshadow palette, just this eyeshadow palette. So I just blend from the outer corner. So I'm pressing in the product, blending, like moving slightly towards the inner corner. So I blend to ensure that everything is in place, everything is smooth, there's no crack, there's no demarcation. So moving on, before going in with my next color, I just use the same fluffy brush I use in blending the base to just blend again around the area which is left, before now going in with this pink shade of eyeshadow. So I just place it around the area left, the inner corner of our eyes, moving towards where the previous color ended. I was just pressing it, everything. So when placing your eyeshadow, just place the eyeshadow, press in the eyeshadow, don't go and start scrubbing like you're scrubbing. So after applying that pink, like I never wanted it to be like for the pink to be shouting too much, so I had to just go in again with like a white shade from that eyeshadow palette. I just applied on it. After doing so, I just use the same fluffy brush I used in blending that brown shade to just blend further, and then I use another brush again, the one I used in applying the eyeshadow, to just blend, just pressing everything, making sure that there's no line separating the two colors. So when mixing two colors, right, make sure that the point separating the two colors, you blend around that area so that there will be no obvious like transition, you understand? So after that, I just try to dust off the excess eyeshadow fallout. Moving forward, to line the eyelid, I use my flat angle brush again, the same one I use in outlining the brows. So I just use my angle brush with my black brows pomade from K Arrow Makeup to just outline. So I did that for both sides of the eye. So when producing my outline, I just start creating like aside from the outer corner of the eye, I just try to create something like a triangle, then moving towards the inner corner. So when I do that, I just leave it halfway, then I start now from the inner corner to link the 2 points. So remember, she said she wanted pink eyeshadow, but I didn't want to leave it like that, so I just wanted to do something a little bit dramatic. So I still use my same angle brush with my black brows pomade, the brows jet, to just create something like a V. Can you see? To just make it more like dramatic and unique. So I just used to create something like a V, then I just give it a double line to link the other line. I don't know how to call this. So I was just trying to just create a V. How did I even call this kind of line? So moving on, I'll be smoothing her under eyes using that same pink shade from the eyeshadow palette, the Blossom eyeshadow palette. So I just use my small, well precise fluffy brush again. This one is small, it's just precise for that purpose to do that. Then after which I went further to line the waterline. So I use that same black, so I use my powder puff to pull her eye downwards, and then I just use the angle brush to do the water lining. So guys, that's it. So when I was done with that, I went into fixing my lashes. Guys, I'm sorry, I cannot remember the name of these lashes, but I promised to do a separate video for lashes, how to apply your false lashes. So after applying my lashes, I use my mascara from Blossom makeup again to just apply around the lashes, the natural lashes, because applying mascara on the natural lashes is very essential. Normally it's supposed to be done before even putting the lashes, because you don't want that excess eyeshadow fall out. You don't want that area to be looking like dusty, right? You have to make it look dark. So for blush, I use my orange shade again from my exclusive blush palette. So I just applied around the apple of her cheek. So to melt down that powder effect, I use my Kiss Beauty setting spray to melt down everything. So I'm using that transparent cover because I don't want it to go on my eyeshadow, so I just protect my eyeshadow. So after that, I use my fan to dry it up. It's very essential. For the lips, I started by outlining it using my brown brows pomade, the one I use in drawing, producing my brows outline. So I just outlined the lips. After which, I use my small fluffy brush to blend in everything. You have to blend, it's very essential, because if you don't blend, putting your next color, it will look so obvious, like you see the point separating the two colors. So you have to blend everything, blend it so that there will be no harsh line when you apply your main color, right? So let's go. For these lips, I'm going to be using just one color, just the pink shade. So after blending, I'm going in with this pink shade from my lip palette. So I just apply it in the middle. After doing that, I use my fluffy brush again to blend. So when blending, I place my brush. I start by placing my brush, my beauty sponge, sorry, not beauty sponge, my fluffy brush on the line separating the dark color, that's the one I use in lining, and the pink. So I place my fluffy brush on that spot, such that when you are blending, right, it's taking care of any demarcation. As you can you see how I'm doing it? So I'm just blending on that spot so that it's taking care of any demarcation and harsh line. I'm going to be going in with this clear lip gloss. It's quite affordable, right? So I just use my flat brush to apply the lip gloss all over, starting from the dark area to the pink area. So after that, I'll be bronzing her face using my highlighter from Blossom makeup, this highlighter palette. So I just want to give the face that glow. You know what I'm saying? You just want to give the face a glow. So I use the small fluffy brush, not angle brush, sorry. So I'm just going to apply it on her cheek, on the bridge of her nose. Then I just use the excess on the brush, on the forehead and the chin. I want that area to be popping. To lock and seal the makeup, I use my all-nighter spray. Can you see? Make sure you shake very well before applying. Then use a fan to dry it up. This is a finished look, guys. What do you think about the look? Tell me your honest opinion. What do you think? Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share. Bye guys, love you all. Mwah.
I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be